Please be seated. Friends, my name is Rabbi Jamie Shalhaven. I'm not happy to be with you. I wish we weren't here. Death will come. We cannot enter in judgment with it. Our question of why will always go unanswered. But this does not mean that we are helpless in the face of death. We can, and we do rob death of ultimate victory by living our lives so that when death comes, it takes us from a world one corner of which is a little better because we were there. Look at this room and the overflow rooms. The world is much better because Andrea existed. We are here to remember Andrea Termotto, but we are also here to support those who mourn her loss. We are here for Andrea's parents, Susan and Richard, her siblings, Daniel, Harrison, Jasmine, Carson, and Leah, her grandparents, Nan and Gramps, her cousins, Max, Emily, Jessica, Dana, Casey, Mason, Jade, Ryan, our aunts and uncles, Boo and Lily and Mary Kay and Tom and Meg and Jason. We are here for Andrea's beloved wife, Rabbi Jen, her son Ellis. We are here in support of their daughters, Goldie and Hazel, Andrea's father-in-law, Rabbi Jay, Nona, Shani, her siblings, Sarah, Nick, Emma, Jean-Pierre, Andrea, Leisha, Greg, Brian, Spencer, Leah, and Riley. We are here for Andrea's nieces and nephews, Sophia, Georgie, Luca, Elijah, Juno, Sunday. Her cousins, Nikki and Taylor and Austin. Her aunts and uncles, Mary, Lisa, Larry, and Ron. We are here for all of Andrea's friends from so many stops along the way, from Calhoun High School, LIU Post, Sands Point, Huntington Hills, Center Light, the VA Medical Center in Northport. We are all here for each other. Because Andrea taught us how to be here for each other. So we remember Andrea today. We join our hearts together to give comfort and strength to her family. Mourning is a time filled with many emotions and memories, both bitter and sweet. So we begin our service with a recitation of psalms and prayers. We link Andrea's life with our old traditions of the people of Israel and the eternity of God. Our prophet Kohelet wrote, "The eye never has its fill of seeing. Young or old, those who depart this life never see enough of the world. They never complete their task. They never cherish their loved ones enough before they are called home." How we yearn, and how they yearn for another respite before the final summons. And how we yearn to have them close to us for yet another challenge in our lives, another joy, another precious moment. So God, we ask you now to be with those whose hearts are broken. Because when parting comes like this, it comes too soon. Console them, God, at this moment. Be near to them when light seems distant. Sustain them, O God, in their time of healing. If you know this, I invite you to sing along as our prayer for those in mourning. הרופא לשבירי לב, ומחבש לעצמותיו, מונה מספר לכוכבים, לכולם שמות יקרא. Healer of the broken-hearted, binder of their wounds, counter of uncountable stars. You know who we are. Hallelujah. 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 Andrea truly was a shepherd of her family and friends. She brought people together, she held people together, and when they possibly were about to go astray, she quickly swooped them in and brought them back. And so as we recite the 23rd Psalm, asking and blessing God for being our shepherd, we recognize that Andrea is with God now. And sometimes we pray that our loved one's soul may help God be a shepherd, but really we know God is Andrea's helper. She's the shepherd. So we say, Adonai, Ro'i L'achzar B'not Deshe Yarbitzeni, Almei Menochot Yenachaleni Nafshi Yeshoveh, V'cheni B'maglet Tzedek L'ma'an Shemo, Gam Ki'erech B'geit Salmavet Lo Ira Raki Ata Imadi, Shiftecha U'mishatecha, Ta'aroch L'fanai Shlucha Neged Tzurai, D'shanti V'shemen Rosi Kusi Rivaya, Achtov V'chesed Yerdefuni Kol Yemei Chayai, Shavti b'veit Adonai la'orech yamin. Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside still waters, and restores my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. There were two people at a table, each faced with two bowls of food to eat. Each one had a bowl of bitter food and a bowl of sweet food. The first ate his whole bowl of sweet food first. So when it came time to eat the bitter, he could not finish it, for he could not even remember the taste of the bowl full of sweet food. He couldn't remember that it had even been there, and he began to cry. He looked over and saw that the second had eaten all of his food, both bowls. How? He asked. And his friend replied, I never ate anything in its entirety. With every bite of bitter I had to endure, I took a bite of sweet with it. It did not hide nor lessen the bitter, but it allowed me to understand that sweetness was also present. Only in this way can we eat it all. My friends, we sit with a huge bowl of bitter food in front of us. Our colleague, our friend, our sister, our daughter, our wife, our mother, our cousin, our Andrea, is taken from us too soon. Her life tragically cut so very short leaves us starving with what we believe is only bitter food at the table. But Andrea would not want us to remember her with bitterness. Rather, she would be the one to remind us through scientific analysis and through deep research that where there is bitter, there must be sweet. And she learned this through her own trials, her own challenges. She learned this because when her life was bitter, her sweetness was family and friends. And she, in turn, saved so many people as well. Andrea's mom remembers her daughter as a smart, funny, engaging, articulate little girl. She ice skated for a while, was very artistic, and she was the oldest daughter and only daughter with 3 little brothers whom she adored. She really took care of them. Andrea was an incredibly brilliant student, which would last the rest of her life. And although she was wise beyond her years, she was also a bit feisty and possibly rebellious at times, certainly knowing her own mind, a lot like Ellis is today. Andrea's name means strong and brave. And that is exactly what she was. She fought through eating disorders, postpartum depression, and more, to be stronger than ever before, and to be living her very best life in the 3 years that Ellis has been here. Jen, Ellis, Sarah, she credits with saving her life. She never forgot that. Ellis helped teach Andrea that she didn't need to strive for perfection. Rather, striving for excellence was enough. You see, Andrea was never quite done. Never quite done researching, never done learning, never done getting degrees. The woman had so many degrees. And she was also never done decorating. Andrea and Jen's house was so beautiful because Andrea handpicked everything. The floors matched the walls, which coordinated with the furniture. Everything was perfect. Actually, it was excellent. Ellis taught her that, because he was the light of her life. Although, Georgie, we all know that before Ellis was born, you were her baby. And Carson, you were her baby long before that. She doted on all of you. And like Ellis, all she wanted was for everyone around her to thrive and be happy. While Andrea was not one for the spotlight, she did an amazing amount of work behind the scenes. Jen often thought that Andrea was buying things on her phone all the time, and much of the time she was. But it turned out she was also creating relationships and saving people, checking in on people, offering advice and support, simply being there. Susan, Andrea's mother, said, I didn't even know how many people she touched. But, and I can't make this up, Susan's yoga instructor knows another yoga instructor who knew Andrea, who was holding a class in Andrea's memory to raise money for her family. Andrea was present everywhere she went. She created connections, and then she kept them. Jen remembers that her depth of character was astounding. Andrea had this ability to reach people where they were, not where she wanted them to be. And she could reach out as far as she did because she also knew she had a home in Jen to come back to. Andrea was all about home and family. She adored going to Merrick for Sunday dinners with her parents. And even when those had to slow down or stop, she would go all the way to Merrick across county lines to get her mani-pedi. She loved spending time with Nan and Gramps. They were truly her people. When Andrea was younger, Nan took her everywhere, got her everything, from vacations to phones to eyeglasses case. If Andrea wanted it, Nan and Gramps got it for her. She was their mission. And even as they got older and she didn't need them to buy things for her anymore, the entire family, and I mean the entire family, Jen's family too, would end Yom Kippur services and go to breakfast at Nan and Gramps Club. And there, surrounded by her family, Andrea felt home. And along with her beloved and determined mother, Susan, Andrea researched, and Susan put into action the most amazing care possible for Nan and Gramps. Andrea called Jay Saba like everyone else, but in her special way, because he had, and still has, amazing food restrictions. And she was a dietitian. She lovingly called him Sabaline. She just loved him so very much. She hated the sun, so he brought her a huge umbrella. Jen thought it was a horrible umbrella. And Andrea just said, it's great, don't pick on your dad. The love was apparent. He would send her any questions he had about his health or food, and she would research them. They would do anything for each other. And it was that research-oriented mind which she inherited from her mother, and then passed on to Ellis, combined with her no-bounds caring spirit that made Andrea who she was. When Andrea found out she was having twins, she was immediately researching all of the what-ifs, and she was pushing through them. She was, in Jen's word, a rock star. She kept working, was still there for Ellis, just always, again, striving for excellence. And we all knew this pregnancy was hard on her, but we figured that the babies would come and she would recover from birthing them and come home to her completed family. None of us could have foreseen this bitterness. But what Andrea would want right now, as we stare at this giant bowl of bitter food that we must eat, is for us to remember that there are 3 small bowls of sweet, too. They are Goldie and Hazel, and the beautiful memories we have of Andrea that we must now share with them. Their sweetness will not blot out the bitter. It will not mask the taste, but it will allow us to consume it as we must, without it consuming us. Because as Andrea would teach us through her short but incredibly impactful life, We must not let the bitterness consume us. So get on your phones today. Buy something. Speak face to face today. Be someone's home, their lifetime. And then do it again tomorrow, and do it again tomorrow, and do it again the next day. And then will Andrea's memory be for a lesson and live on for generations to come. It is with sad sweetness and bitter pride that I ask Rabbi Jen to come forward to speak about her life.
A letter to my wife. Start at the beginning. But you always said you can't remember when that happened. I would say maybe if you picked your head up from the phone, stop leaving the crumpled paper towel anywhere you used it. Make sure that when I'm telling you this, you're not sitting in front of our house in the car for 30 minutes before coming in. "2004 was a long time ago. Cold Stone Creamery of Merrick, really Belmore, opens. I was asked by a family member, after working for years in home care administration, to help our family. The store was brand new. Much of the staff was high school students, some eager to work. That was you. Others eager for a paycheck, well, maybe that was you too. Some could scoop exact measurements without a scale. That was you. While others were wasting product. Some could have both waffle irons going at the same time. That was you. Others burning cones and bowls by the minute. You were you. Freshly showered, Tiffany choker and bracelet, uniform and apron freshly washed daily, the signature bun smelling like a Scottish sexy graffiti. It's a good smell. Today I was discontinued. I tried to order it last night. Always on time, because your dad dropped you off in peaches and cream, that stupid car. Brought Carson in to pick you up each day with his smelly sandals, always requesting to go behind the counter and get cake batter with M&Ms. You were you. I never use paper. I always use an iPad. This is why. I didn't turn my pages. Let's be real. We were just shy of 11 years apart. And basically, let's just say, looking back, what was I thinking? Though, it was all you, no backsies. Living together shortly after at your parents' house in Merrick was easy. Your parents didn't give us a hard time. In fact, I think they enjoyed us together. Felt like family from the start. Maren Stacky, I'm eternally grateful that you shared your daughter with me. Your brothers were young, really young. And together, we watched them grow, influencing them, maybe, but always protecting them. Just think of all those rent-free days and years, which meant that all the money was for our retail therapy. I promise you, never a bargain, just me walking beside you, with no circulation to my fingers as I schlepped the bags around the mall for hours. I often mentioned how I kind of miss doing that. And you said that was fun in the past. And really, nothing like that matters anymore. You were content with your airy, comfortable clothes, Crocs and Uggs, even if it was out of season, but most of all, spending time with the ones you love most. How about the day we were going to babysit Riley? I don't even think she was 2. We were driving on the 135 to Syosset. You looked at me, you took my cigarettes, and you threw them out the window. I was so pissed. And you said, if you want to be with me, these have to go. You saved me. You were the reason. Quickly becoming part of my family, you said, anyone hanging on or hanging out with one of my siblings better jump in the boat with 2 feet or they're going to sink. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that though you weren't sporty, for sure, trust me, she took Ellis to a few sports classes. It wasn't good. I got pictures of the lacrosse stick in the wrong hand. You were strong at your core, finding your way to the middle of the boat. You were the middle. You were the truth. You were in it for the long haul. You were my siblings' best friend. You showed their partners the way in. You led by example, bringing us all so close together. High school, college, grad school, no matter what, you excelled and you found your way to the top. You probably didn't need to study all those hours. Lisa never did. But second best wasn't your way. If it mattered, you put your heart and your soul into it. You often said that I too deserved those degrees, the registrations and certifications, because how many days did I sit at the dining room table looking at stupid flashcards, highlighted textbooks, fetching. I was like the study pen. I hear the laughs and I hear the cries, because you too walked along with me. Work, your residents, your patients, your veterans were always your priority. Okay, there were plenty of moments that kept you and your coworkers annoyed, laughing, rolling your eyes. Maybe I learned that from you. And wanting to walk out. But together, you made the best of it. I can't tell you how many messages I received since you were taken from me. And all of them speak to your character. What you were doing was connecting. What you were doing was being present, to support. Your outreach was far beyond your reach. Your empathy and your warmth, you never shared all your behind-scenes work with me, day in and day out. I wish you did. You were love. You were the constant. You showed up. You cared. You were humble. You were so many people's person, not just me. For so many reasons. Didn't matter what it was about. Okay, mostly in the early days, it was about the gym, sports injury rehab, overcoming major back trouble, diet and macros. I never will count another fucking macro in my life. That I promise you. It's always been about all the things medical, home decorating, as Rabbi Jamie said, foodie things, tattoos, nail polish. Why do we need to own nail polish like 400 bottles if you go to the nail place and pick one there anyway? Yeah. Diamonds, research on any product. The past 4 years, it was all about pregnancy, postpartum anxiety and depression, gentle parenting, I'm working on it, advocating for yourself and for women, so much more. You had the answers. You had the brains. You were the advocate, the confidant. You were the strength. You were so loyal. You were the most incredible aunt. You were Tati, you were Tati Merv, you were Tata. My siblings' kids were your kids. Well, they were our kids. Can't give it to you all. You might have been the fun one. You never yelled. You loved them each for who they were, as individual people. You helped their parents navigate through moments, tough moments. Watching you with them made my heart happy. It made me love you most. Just when I thought my window for starting a family was closed. 11 years, remember? You were ready for kids. Thanks, friends. Of course, it wouldn't be easy. Hyperemesis. Well, that was hereditary. From 5 weeks pregnant with Ellis, you puked every day. All day. COVID twice. Maybe that job was just stupid. They didn't know the policies yet. Andrea and Heather, I think they got like COVID relief like 3 times. I don't know. They went back and they came back. I don't know. So many things were complicated. You complained. You really complained. But you never gave up. You brought our boy into the world. And I'm going to say, he's perfect, even though that word doesn't exist. Days later, you were in the hospital, septic, and I thought I'd lose you then. Thank God you came home to us. Postpartum depression and anxiety almost took your life. But Sarah held your hand and helped you save yourself. TT, I will be forever grateful. When you thought you couldn't do it, your village showed up. Our village showed up. You were strong, you were resilient, you were brave. Being mommy to Ellis for the past 3.5 years was incredible for you and for us. In all our years together, I never saw you light up like this. You were meant to be a mommy. Everything made you happy, even the hard moments. It was your everything. He was your sweet egg. Yesterday, after some tough conversation, Ellis said, Ima, I will always be Mommy's sweet egg. I promised him that would always be true. I promised him that even when we miss Mommy the most, she will always love us. Praying that we never stop feeling that. You were our home, you were our safety net, you were our life. Getting pregnant again was different the second time around for us. News at 7 weeks that you were having monodyne twins, identical twins, rocked your boat. That analytical medical researcher brain sprung into action and you were scared. You advocated for yourself and for our babies despite all the worry bound up in this experience. You were so sick, but you always showed up. You taught us, and you taught me perseverance. You taught me strength. The past week threw us a few curveballs. You were so uncomfortable. Constantly saying, how will I make it to 37 weeks? And at 33 weeks pregnant, you were told the twins would be safer on the outside. took the news like a champ. You got what seemed to be, in that moment, the answer you wanted. Let's get these babies out. It all moved so quickly. None of it was fair. A traumatic experience for me. You watched it unfold by your side, and it ended tragically. You were taken from me. You were taken from Ellis. You were taken from Goldie. You were taken from Hazel. From your family, your parents, your brothers, from our friends, from my family, from your colleagues, and from those whose lives you touched in your 35 years. It wasn't supposed to be this way. It should never be this way. In the coming weeks, I'm going to share your story again with the world. Every single detail, just as you did after Ellis was born. You said, maybe if I share my story, I can save someone else. Please, God, may no one ever have to go through this nightmare. You made our house a home. It's never going to be the same without you. Now our home is for Ellis, Goldie, Hazel, and me. And we will never let your presence be absent from it. I found a card you wrote me 10 years ago. She never wrote a card. She always said, oh, your birthday's coming up. Your whatever, our whatever. Forget, I didn't go and get a card. Great. Here's what it said. Part of what it said. It said, skeg. Some weird random thing made up. Never knew its meaning, ever. Neither one of us did. Said skeg. You make every possible stressful situation in my life better and more positive. You help me see the good side in every situation when I automatically think of the negative and the worst possible scenario. You've been an integral part of all my successes and have helped me through my failures, although there haven't been many. You are my person. Well, stay. I promise to do that for our children. For Ellis, for Goldie, and for Hazel. You're my greatest supporter and my biggest fan. You accepted my career and its demands, and you hated it, but you loved me. You were one of a kind. You were my everything. You showed up when I needed you most. And now I have to stand up for you, for us, for the family we created together. I wish you were still here, so we could fulfill our dreams of long life together. And just like I promised you that day you died, I will always go home to Ellis. And now go to Hazel. On Saturday morning you died. You died in the same room as my mom. Well, my love, my mom said you were a keeper. Mom, it's now time for you to keep her. I will miss you both forever. I love you, Sling. Don't ever forget it.
Oh, Sarah. Here's yours.
Okay, Tati, I know you didn't like being dressed up, specifically formal. written and unwritten what I wanted to say about a million times. Maybe I would know what to write if I had Todd to proofread it for me. I wrote a line holding the girls. I wrote a line pulled over at a stoplight. Sorry, Nick. I've written a line laying in Todd's bed waiting for Jenny to shower. I've written lines crying late at night and in the early morning. And still nothing seems good enough. How does one explain the relationship that we've built over the years? Every single thing is a constant reminder of another moment in time where we thought we would be two old grandmas sitting in your freezing air-conditioned house while I have 75 sweaters on, ordering inexpensive takeout. So here goes nothing. There's many things I thought I would be doing on a typical Wednesday. Waking up, texting group chat, laughing at Ellis's morning antics, FaceTiming the twins in the NICU from Hilltop, providing guidance for Tiny postpartum, sitting next to Jenny at Hilltop's bar for our weekly lunch work dates. But giving a eulogy for my best friend was definitely not one of them. Todd entered my life many moons ago. She had crunchy curls and I had Japanese straightening and blue contacts, but we had an instant connection. Being part of the Weinsteins is no easy task. We are loud, we are opinionated, we have enough people to make 2 basketball teams, and we love hard. Todd jumped in head first and never stopped swimming. We had so many things in common, so much so that Jenny often joked we were brain twins. She was smart, strong, and loyal. She had excellent taste in tattoos and food, but most of all, she loved my sister. Jenny and Todd are soulmates. It was evident in the way they shared their lives on the day-to-day. We would joke daily in our chats about Todd leaving a trail of crumpled paper towels, or Jenny's need for Ellis to have matching pajamas. But no matter the silly banter, they always chose each other. I had the pleasure of watching them transform from just a couple of young kids in love to a solid parental unit. These last 3 years were some of the happiest years of their life as they navigated their way like champs through parenthood. But Todd was also my soulmate. My husband Nick's, better known by our family as Bubs or Daddy soulmate. In our daily group chat between Nick, Todd, and Jen and I, we would send each other these giant 24-bedroom mansions and talk about how we would always raise our families together as one unit. Since we haven't hit the lotto yet, the 24-bedroom mansion is going to have to wait, but the promise to keep our families close remains. Todd, the only thing better than having you as my sister is my children having you as their aunt. Sorry. For the past 11 years, you have been there for all of it. Milestones, sports games, school events, my late night texts, and as the kids got older, their late night texts. The kids could always count on you for your gentle parenting style and sound advice. You and Bobby shared a love for the movie theater and video games and for sissies, shopping, and babies. Our hearts are shattered that we are expected to go on without someone who is a core piece of our daily existence. But we will. You are a fighter in all aspects of your life, and now it's our time to fight. We've helped each other through some difficult moments and have saved each other more than once. This last pregnancy was not easy, but you fought the fight every single day to bring these girls earthside to us. And after they were here, you fought and fought to make sure that their birth date and your last day on earth were not the same. Goldie and Hazel are fighters, just like their mommy, and Ellis is going to be the best big brother. And we promise that just like you were there for our kids, we will show up for them. First bottle feeds, we are there. Skin to skin, we are there. School drop-offs and pickups, recitals and talent shows, science fairs.
They're not going to dance.
Science fairs. Their first home runs and their first strikeouts, doctor's appointments, haircuts, bath times, and bedtimes. We'll be there for their hard questions and late night texts, shopping and makeup trips. The first time they want to dye their hair or get a piercing or tattoo. Don't worry, I'll make sure it's a good one. Their first loves and their first heartbreaks. Any and all things in between, we will be there. These cards we were dealt just seem so unfair, but I know some people spend their whole lives searching for the bond that we've been lucky to share for all of these years and still come up short. So to my guardian angel, I hope you're laying on the best couch with your Merv on your head, eating overpriced takeout, smiling down on us. Save a seat and a heated blanket for me. Love always, TT. P.S. Jenny went home to Ellis, and as you can see, the girls have hair. Thank you, guys.
I'd like to invite Larissa.
Todd, our Topola, Rod, our Rod Tomato. There are no words that we could ever say that come close to describing the depth of you, your impact on our lives, and our sisterhood. But we're gonna try. We started our journey into sisterhood 20 years ago. We didn't know at the time that this would be one of the most influential relationships in our lives. From something as simple as what color our nails should be, to how we're going to design and decorate our homes, to some of the biggest decisions in our lives. And you know what they are. You have always been there. You've been the mediator of our group, the sounding board, the person who understands everything and can walk through anything with us. We've done every piece of life together. Graduations, babies, marriages, and goodbyes. And now we're saying the worst goodbye that we never imagined could happen. Nothing will ever be the same. Group chat will never be the same. And for some it seems silly, but for us, our group chat is our lifeline. Hundreds of messages a day about the smallest thing to the most intense conversations and debates. We all grew up together. We did life together. We're gonna miss your demands. You're asking for random food that you're craving at the minute. Sending pictures of what furniture or fancy rug you want. The complaints of how tired you are. And just the silliness. And most important, we're going to miss your support. We're going to miss our safe space. You have been a safe space for us and all of our children.
It says spawns, but you didn't want to say spawns.
We promise we will find ways to honor you every single day. We will show your kids pictures and videos, and we will tell them all the funny stories. They will know your voice, your character, and how you have impacted everyone around you. They will never be alone, and they will grow up in the village that you and Jenny cultivated, because they deserve nothing less. So lastly, thank you, Toddy. Thank you for loving our Jenny and being the best part of her. Thank you for giving us 3 babies to love forever. And thank you for being you. Thank you for every piece of you. We're not sure what we'll do without you, but we'll try the best we can.
Hi, I'm Marley, and this is Sophia. We just wanted to say how much we love Todd, and we always knew she was going to be an amazing mom. She's one of the best moms. She would always look after us, and I hope I can be as strong next to her. One day she was our schoolie, our Todd.
Todd was so funny, so sweet, and had the best attitude all the time. She had the most beautiful red hair and a great smile. Todd had the best personality in the world. She was so kind, caring, nice, and silly. She used to take such good care of us, and we all loved her so much.
We will make sure to take care of her twins because she has us, and we will have her in our hearts forever.
I'd like to invite up Anne. Hello, everybody. My name is Anne. If you were fortunate enough to call Andrea a friend, she's probably one of the best friends that you've ever had. From the time we started working together in 2012, we were fast friends. I learned quickly that Andrea doesn't do much that she doesn't want to do. Jen, you may remember the time I tried to convince Andrea to do the blueprint cleanse.
I swear, as you walked out there, that's all I could think. Best friend unless you know what I mean.
So, anyone who's not familiar, it's like a highly disgusting juice cleanse. I thought it would be a really great idea for us to do it. She tried it. She gave it the old college try, drank one, and said, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And I'm pretty sure I called you crying, saying, please, I want to do this together. Why is she giving up on this? But alas, she could not be convinced. But once she is committed to something, she's in. We had a few bad ideas that we followed through for way too long. Bulletin boards that took us hours and hours and hours locked up at the congregation using their craft supplies because we thought it would be a really good idea for the residents to teach them about nutrition at Sands Point. We realized that in our medical record system, everyone's heights were not updated. So we said, okay, we're going to come in early, and we're going to go around while everyone's still in bed with a measuring tape, and we're going to get accurate height readings on all of our residents. And it took about 1 or 2 rooms for someone to say, are you measuring me for a coffin? And we said, no! Oh my God. Abort, we are so sorry. No, that is not what's happening. We just want to calculate your BMI. But her commitment is most obvious and most meaningful in her relationships. As I mentioned, we first became friends in 2012 while working at Sands Point. I knew her before then as a classmate, and I knew she was wicked smart. But she quickly became my most trusted advisor. She was that friend who always remembers the most tiny details about your life. So observant and
and so thoughtful. She gave really good advice, always. She always had an amazing, silly sense of humor. We laughed more than I've ever laughed in a job. To make a nursing home fun, it really takes somebody special. It's hard to remember when I realized that we would be friends for life, but when I did, it came with such a deep sense of security. I could tell her anything, be anything, do anything, and she'd be there, knowing exactly what to say or not to say. I don't know what made her decide on me, but I'm so thankful for it. I think part of why it was so easy for Andrea to commit to something, whether it be a project or a person, is that I never saw her second guess herself. She was deeply secure in who she was and what she wanted. She was present and totally tuned in, never worrying about what others would think, like really never, ever. I saw the way she was supported and protected by her clan and how it made her who she was. And when you're in with Andrea, you're in with Jen and the whole crew. And when you're in with Jen, you may as well have the whole world on your side. So to my friend, I will love you and miss you every single day of my life. And to the Weinsteins who welcomed me in my family, thank you. I love you, and you are never getting rid.
Let's call up Shayna.
You can do hard things. This is the mantra Todd told me to repeat over and over to myself until I believed it during a time that I was questioning my own strength. I never thought I would be taking her advice today as I stand in front of you all. This is the hardest of things. My name is Shayna, and Andrea and I met 17 years ago during a summer biology course at CW Post. My first impression of her was how is she wearing these juicy and butter soft sweat sets every day in the middle of summer. I don't even think our classroom had air conditioning. I learned that this was her uniform, and only footwear changed for the season, Uggs to flip-flops. This was back when she could be reached on AIM as Hardtail Hunt, or BlackBerry Messenger as Todd the Dragon. We got to know each other standing outside the building, talking after class, while Andrea waited for her friend to come pick her up. Jen would pull up and off they went. Our friendship quickly grew. It was easy. She said things the way they were and definitely was not one to sugarcoat, was not into drama, and had this dry sense of humor that kept me laughing for days. As time went on, I got more and more doses of Jen. She would bring us food to the library as we studied and drive us to nutrition club events. Sometime that fall, Andrea told me she had something to share. That Jen was more than just a friend. She was her girlfriend. Of course, I already knew this. I saw the way they looked at each other. And I know love when I see it.
I was lucky enough to be a part of their journey as their love grew deeper and deeper, supporting each other during personal growth as Jen became a rabbi and Andrea a dietitian and then completing her master's. Their milestones in their relationship, their first apartment, getting engaged, buying their first home, marriage, and motherhood. She had her unique ways of showing her love, but Jen, she loved you tremendously. She loved the life that you guys created together. Jen, when you officiated that nice wedding, you said, it's not only about marrying the right partner, it's about being the right partner. You and Andrea were the best partners for each other. You're each other's person. Andrea led me to you, Jen. I gained another friend, a confidant, and the best listener. I am forever grateful for that. I was lucky enough to get to know the Termotto family as our friendship grew. Lucky enough to be included in activities surrounding Carson's latest hobby. Magic was a personal favorite. Nan took us to a lot of magic shows that summer. We celebrated many 4th of Julys at Mill River with Nan and Gramps too. Andrea loved a good fireworks show. She loved her family, was incredibly proud of her brothers as she watched Harrison and Carson go off to college. And Daniel, even though she thought Pokemon Go was dumb, she was proud of you too. The magnitude of her love for her family became even more apparent when she got to experience her parents become grandparents. Andrea felt so bonded to and loved by Rabbi Jay and her second set of siblings over at 421. Sarah and Emma, thank you for being there for Goldie and Hazel when my friend can't be. Before becoming Ellis's mom, it was clear that she had an innate maternal instinct. Babies brought her so much joy. She went running to the hospital when a loved one went into labor. I will never forget her dashing into my hospital room with open arms, ready to love my son. As you can tell by the crowd here today, Todd showed up for everyone. She was a very proud aunt and eagerly celebrated as her best friends had babies too. When Ellis came into this world, she was changed forever. This little boy made her a mother, and her and Jen got to begin this next chapter of life as Ellis's moms. Andrea had fun with all of Ellis's phases, minus the not sleeping. But what stands out the most to me was her describing how amazing it was when Ellis started speaking. She treasured all of their conversations and loved listening to him describe the world around him. I could go on and tell you about all the celebratory dinners we shared at Toku, about getting dragged to a nail polish swap party. Remember that, Jen?
Yes, I do.
Or tagging along with her and Jen to get bubble tea in Queens on a Tuesday night before bubble tea was out on the island. But instead, I will make a promise to you, my Andrea, to be there for Jen, Ellis, Goldie, and Hazel through the tougher days ahead. And when the storm has settled, I promise to tell your 3 babies about your strong work ethic, fortitude, what an amazing friend you were, and how you could do hard things. I love you.
can I possibly sum up 15, maybe 16 years of friendship?
16, I looked less than.
See, I'm not as smart as you think I am. Andrea and I met in one of our undergrad nutrition classes at Post sometime in 2008. She was always in sweats. I'm sure many of you remember the iconic Juicy Couture sweatsuits. With her curly hair and a messy bun on top of her head, perfect skin and smile and the best laugh. And her nails, fresh manicured each week like clockwork. I actually said to Vic on the way here, she'd be so horrified with me right now. She was incredibly smart, so articulate, hardworking, and a little neurotic, which I could relate to. I don't really remember how we connected, but I'm so thankful we did. What started as study sessions, the best dinner dates, and first meeting the other's future spouse, turned into celebrating so many of life's milestones together. Birthdays, graduations, the time she had to dress up as a forest ranger for one of her internship rotations, passing our RD exams, she was the first person I called. Starting our careers, each of us practicing in pretty much opposite areas of nutrition, both wondering how the other one did it. Getting engaged, and me, 8 months pregnant with AJ, holding her hair back over a bucket when she had a little too much to drink at her own engagement party. Buying our first homes, Tot was always a go-to for any type of design advice. She had the best eye for things I'd never be brave enough to even consider. Eventually weddings, pregnancy, and babies, with so much little stuff in between. For the last 6 months, we even got to be colleagues, something we'd never been before, when she took a position where I work at the VA in Northport. A job she was absolutely meant for and so good at, despite the challenges of her pregnancy. At the baby shower a few weeks ago, we took a few pictures and joked about how we'd blow them up for our retirement parties in 25 years. I promised to do just that. Someone recently asked me, have Andrea and Jen always been like a package deal? My response was something like, yeah, absolutely. From the actual moment I met Jen at a really awful vegan Chinese restaurant. Sorry, Shayna. The love between them was glaringly obvious, and I got 2 best friends for the price of 1. Along with that came the privilege of watching them build their life and family together. You see, they've always been the most generous of friends, the best gift givers, the ones who show up first. Aunt Todd and Aunt Jenny to my son, and my favorite people to text at random nearly every day for all these years. There's something so special about a completely low effort but totally solid friendship. The kind where you don't feel the sudden urge to rage clean before they come over because you know the boys will tear the house apart anyway. The kind where you don't need to see each other constantly, yet you know without hesitation that you'd be there for each other in an instant, no questions asked. So in some strange way, this is a full circle moment for me, though never one I could have imagined would happen so soon, or really at all. Todd and Jen have always stood up on my behalf. Todd is one of my bridesmaids and my son's godmother, and Jen officiating the most perfect and personalized wedding ceremony that our friends and family raved about. I know she's done the same for so many of you.
Now here I am, albeit under the worst possible circumstances, blessed and honored to stand up here in front of all of you for them. Jen, my buddy Ellis, Susan Stack, Daniel Harrison and Carson, Rabbi Jay, I will be your dietitian now, but I'm not nearly as smart as her, so just take it for what it is. And the entire Weinstein family, thank you for sharing Andrea with me, and always welcoming me and my little family with open arms. We will always keep Todd's memory alive and love Ellis, Goldie, and Hazel just as much as we loved her.
Heather here? Yes.
Hi. I could stand up here for hours upon hours talking about how much I love Andrea, how loved she was by so many, and what an amazing person and friend she was. But that's a given. That is why we are all here, to remember her, to honor her, and continue to honor her by loving the family she so desperately loved. I met Andrea in 2012 at Sands Point and wasn't a huge fan. And then she left. She came back to Sands around 2016 and it was different. Maybe I was different or she was different. Workplace friendships are great. You are forced to be together 8 hours a day, but it's what comes after that truly counts. When you have your first baby and she comes with Jen to the hospital to visit, knowing it was more for the baby than me, which was fine. When she sits in your office day in and day out and you don't mind. When you lose your voice and have a family phone conference, and she said she will run the meeting as the social worker because she knows my spiel. When she makes you a better person. During COVID times, as Jen had mentioned, we were out each time together with COVID. That was 3 2-week vacations. I remember Jen asking if we still had jobs. We were never there. More recently, I started binge watching Grey's Anatomy and was telling Andrea and said we should be Meredith and Christina, and she agreed. The truth is, she was my person long before that. I am heartbroken for Jen, Ellis, Hazel, Goldie, and all of us that have the honor to know her and love her. I truly believe that we are better because we knew her, and we will continue to carry her with us always. Thank you.
The final words I'd like to invite Rabbi Jay.
Wow, it's a lot of people. And it's not Yom Kippur. So as I always begin, and what sustains me is, let's all take a breath. Friends, for those that don't know me, I am Rabbi Jay, Andrea's father-in-law, Rabbi Jen's dad, and Ellis, Goldie, and Hazel's Saba, or Sabaline, as Andrea lovingly always called. On behalf of Andrea's entire family, we thank each and every one of you here in this chapel and on live stream. We are one human family, We're Judaism fueled by love. We love you all watching Connect today. Each and every one of you are accompanying us today as we continue to navigate the loss of our beloved Andrea. From all around the world, the outpouring of love, messages, texts, emails, phone calls, and more than 2,000 donations on GoFundMe, food, baby clothes, gift cards, donations to our synagogue is so beautiful and also overwhelming. To our congregants, our clergy colleagues and friends, our extended family, the many, many friends, the local and greater communities, including people that we do not even know. We are so grateful for your love and for your support. Andrea was and will always be special in everyone's heart that she touched. You have heard stories from just a few: her beloved wife, Titi, Rissy, Nana, Marley, Sophia, Georgie. I read his words. Lisa, Shayna, Heather, and each one a different person with a different relationship, all sharing just a glimpse of a beautiful soul. And as time progresses, I am sure that additional stories will be shared by them and all of you. Tati, as I lovingly call her, was more than a daughter-in-law to me. She was one of my daughters. So many of the stories shared I can relate to. Andrea was indeed kind and caring and loving and truly loved me unconditionally. I could do no wrong. Andrea was the one I would immediately forward my lab values and test results to for analysis. The person I would text when I needed a clarification about something researched or design related. And the person I would go to when my daughters were being difficult to deal with or didn't agree with me and should have. She would say, "It's okay, Savaline." That's what Tati would say. "It's okay, Savaline." And I know she's saying today, "It's okay, Savaline. I'm here with you." I am so grateful that Andrea brought light into this world. 3 years ago, she gifted us with Ellis, and now Goldie and Hazel. Your tragic death is our painstaking reminder of the fragility of life. You have touched so many of us in your life, and everyone in your death. Friends, what are the lessons that we can learn from this horror? Treasure each day. It is the words which we say each morning, Modeh Ani, Modah Ani, Odeh Ani. Thank you, God, for life, for breath and heartbeat, for it indeed is a gift, one that not everyone gets. The lessons that the world is good, that people care, that chesed, loving kindness, is real. Today is the 43rd day of the Omer. And each and every one of you know that Rabbi Jen normally counts the Omer 7 nights a week, 9:30, no matter what. Whether Todd in the beginning didn't want her to do it or not. So Rabbi Jen counts the Omer. And she always says, "I count on you, you count on me, we count on each other." Today, on this 43rd day of the Omer, is Chesed, Sheva, Shechina, Malchut. It is loving kindness and leadership. We are leaders of our own destiny, our own wishes and desires. All of you are true leaders of chesed, of loving kindness, and we are so grateful. This week's Torah portion is Bamidbar. It starts off with a census, counting all. People count things they love. Like Todd would count her possessions, her diamonds, her money, what she has in the bank, what she has in her stocks, the things that were important to her. But the truth of the matter is that God counts each one of us. Each one of you have accepted the sacred task of being counted. You are a face of God in this darkness. You are the light. You are the love. And we are so grateful. May you be counted for blessings, long life, good health, each and every day. May we all continue to spread love and kindness in this world. And Tati, I stand here today and I promise to you that I will do everything that I can to make sure that Jenny, Ellis, Goldie, and Hazel will be taken care of, and that each one of your kids will always know their mommy. I love you, Tati.
This is from Georgie. Dear Tot, you were always there for me when I needed you most. When I was sad, you'd make me happy. I love you so much. Love, Georgie.
In a moment, we are going to recite Amalei Rachamim. Before we do that, a few announcements so that we end with Amalei and not announcements. Jay and Andrea were the water bottle police. And so, for those coming to the burial, they provided 5,623 water bottles. Just kidding, but there's a lot. You are required to take one when you leave, and Rabbi Jay would like to tell everyone who's wearing a suit jacket, if we stand outside, please take it off. Very important. That was my first announcement. There, I made it. Excellent. Shiva will be at Rabbi Jay's house at 55 Lawrence Hill Road today after the burial until 7 p.m., Thursday from 4 to 7, and Friday from 10 to 2. Tzedakah and Andrea's memory can go to the GoFundMe to support Jen, Ellis, Goldie, and Hazel. And you can find that link on the Simchat Halev Facebook page. Although not raised particularly Jewishly religious, Andrea fully embraced Jen's Judaism. Complained about it, but also fully embraced it. In raising Ellis, and with her life, she gave life. So to give her a Hebrew name, in her death she earns the name Chava, mother, life. I asked Jen last night for permission to give Andrea this Hebrew name for Amalei Rachamim. She paused for a moment and then informed me that it was perfect, even though there's no such thing as perfect, because it was Jen's mother's name, a blessed memory, and it is the name they chose, unbeknownst to me, for Goldie's Hebrew name, her middle name. And so, Lador Vador, from generation to generation, with our life, we give life. I invite you to rise to recite Amalei Rachamim. Amalei Rachamim, Shochem Ramonim, Aמצי מנוחה נכונה, תחת כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מתירים, את נשמת חווה בטובה, שהלך לעולמה בגן עדן תהא מנוחתה, לכן בעל הרחמים יסירהו בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר Amen. May the source of life, the fountain of all being, open our hearts to compassion and our eyes to wisdom, that we might glimpse in perfect peace and sadness the way of all things. May Andrea's memory be for us a blessing. May we never let the light of her love grow dim in our hearts. May we remember all her worthy and righteous deeds, and may her memory be forever bound up in the bond of eternal life. God is our source and our destination, our beginning and our end. May Andrea's death awaken us to this truth, that the bond of love we shared and share may never be severed in sorrow. May she rest in peace. And together we say, Amen.
We ask everyone to please remain standing while the family leaves. Thank you. Folks, we're going to ask that you kindly continue to the limousine, please, so we can get everybody in.
Once they're in their limousine, once they're in their cars, they will allow us to go to our cars.
Excuse me 1 second, sir. Sure.
But you can be seated while you're waiting.
I didn't want to touch anything and break it, so if you want to grab that, and then I'll put this in the trunk for you.
Do you think I need to?
I hit N, but I'm not sure.
Oh, you did hit N?